And give the call to the member for Goldstein.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I am a great believer in the power and potential of this great nation, and that's why I rise to support the spirit of this proposal and this motion in this place. Because when you look at the history, Deputy Speaker, of this great continent and what has been done, it's through hard work, through sacrifice, by people seizing the opportunity of the land in which we live to build this nation's future. And, Deputy Speaker, the principle behind this motion is precisely that, to allow the opportunity for Australians across this country, as well as people who are new Australians, to be part of the continuing vision of Australia and its opportunity. Where people want to invest in the future of this country, we should empower them to be able to do so that they can enjoy the fruits and opportunity that have been provided for generations past and for those into the future. That's why we should support decentralisation, because what we want is the opportunity of the great expanse of this continent to be able to be harnessed and utilised for the benefit of Australians and future generations. But more critically, we shouldn't just look at decentralisation isolation about being about people, though it is. Decentralisation goes to the core of liberal values and liberal philosophy about who we are and what we want for this great nation. And decentralisation isn't just about moving departments or bureaucracies out of capital cities. It's about building the foundations of our country across the continent and empowering people the closest they are and making sure political power is close to the people it's designed to serve. Because the closer power is to the people it's designed to serve, the more likely it will to reflect the values of that community, the aspirations of that community, to have a higher degree of accountability, and to make sure that it's more in touch with the people who want to see a better Australia. Now, that doesn't negate the fact that this government has made landmark, significant historic contributions to the decentralisation of Australia and empowering those communities and strengthening them from the community up, not simply from Canberra down. We've seen the historic investment in inland rail that will link the Port of Brisbane to the Port of Melbourne, transforming freight movements throughout Victoria, New South Wales and South East Queensland, while promoting economic opportunities for jobs and growth in those regions. To empower farmers, to empower employers in those communities to take the goods and services they provide to export them to the world. To build, repair and upgrade local roads, we're investing $4.4 billion in the Roads Recovery Program, while the Black Spot Program, $684 million for 7 years from 2021, is delivering safety improvements so those who drive on outside of capital cities and freeways can make sure they can get to their destination safely and they can be the safe communities where people want to live. The local bridges are also being fixed with $420 million for the Bridges Renewal Program, while maintaining high living standards in regional areas requires us to effectively manage economic transactions. But it isn't just the regional centres that are yearning for the opportunity to empower and build the many smaller cities in this country. The call and the demand is also coming from our capital cities as well. Deputy Speaker, in the Goldstein community, I speak so often to people who worry about the congestion, the obligation, the burdens that are now sitting on our overstretched roads, our overstretched hospitals and our overstretched schools. And what Australians want to see, and Goldstein residents want to see, is to see more Australians being spread out across this country because they see their opportunity and their future there as well, to take the pressure off our capital cities and to make sure that there are other choices and other opportunities, particularly for new and young Australians who want to have their fair share and their fair go of investing in the future of this nation. And that's why there's been such a strong push by the state opposition leader in Victoria, Matthew Guy, to shift the focus from building up a city-state around Melbourne, a wonderful community, a wonderful capital city for which I am very privileged to represent and be part of, but to make sure that we go from being a city-state to a state of cities, to empower those rural and regional communities to realise their ambitions. And the more the state and the federal governments work in concert to deliver those outcomes, the more we will develop and deliver the services that Australians want on the standards they expect, but the more we will build this great nation's future.